Hello, I'm Kiernan Ryan. I'm Emeritus Professor of English Literature at Royal Holloway, and I want to talk to you today about King Lear. Well, the first thing to stress, I think, is the sheer audacity of the vision of King Lear, which Shakespeare's company, the King's Men, staged for the entertainment of their royal patron at Christmas in 1606. Just think of it, an omnipotent monarch who, like James, believed himself divinely endowed with absolute power, is robbed of his royalty and the roof over his head, and forced to experience the bitter cold, deprivation, and despair that the hungry, homeless outcasts of his kingdom must endure. Impotent rage at Goneril and Regan's ingratitude and unbearable guilt for his banishment of Cordelia drive him insane. His derangement compels him to call into question his own sovereignty and the unjust social order it had supported. But Lear's relentless suffering and the insight it brings him are rewarded not with redemption, as criticism often claims, but with yet more agony and an excruciating death as he gazes in disbelief at the lifeless lips of his daughter Cordelia. The impact of Lear's fate is amplified, you could say, in a parallel plot by the fate of Gloucester, which describes the same arc of agony, insight, and finally oblivion. If any scene encapsulates the play's vision, it's the demented Lear's storm-lashed encounter with Edgar in the guise of the mad beggar Poor Tom. Not content with inflicting unspeakable torment on Lear, Shakespeare invents an encounter that compels James's legendary precursor on the throne of Albion to realise that beneath a king's royal robes and a crazed beggar's rags beats the heart of the same poor, bare, forked animal, the same unaccommodated man, and to, here's the crucial thing, to enact that realisation by struggling to tear off the tawdry trappings of majesty before the audience's eyes. King Lear dramatises the conflict between the inhuman drive to divide and dominate embodied in a king and the human need for kindness and community embodied by a naked beggar. Lear's enlightenment culminates in a snarl of contempt for the great image of authority he once represented. A dog's obeyed in office. In place of greed and exploitation, the tragedy advocates a compassionate egalitarianism rooted in the fundamental kinship of all human creatures. So distribution should undo excess, and each man have enough. Nothing confirms the seditious spirit of King Lear more clearly than Tait's notorious emasculation of the play to suit the post-revolutionary restoration world of Charles II. To make the tragedy politically palatable, Tait turned it back into the sentimental tragicomedy Shakespeare had deliberately demolished by ditching the happy ending of his primary source, the true chronicle history of King Lear. That Tait's travesty usurped King Lear on the English stage for nearly a century and a half, from 1681 until 1838, is a testament to the subversive ferocity of the play that Shakespeare wrote.